Good afternoon, investigators. It's Casey Pine
Hello.
and Mike Evans here with Friday SpyCurious, the weekly private, government and corporate investigator news program for people that like to take statements. We are so much fun when we're out to dinner. You wouldn't believe how exciting we are. It's just fabulous. This week, we're going to be looking at sock puppets. Yes, you heard me correctly, sock puppets. We're going back to when you were in primary school, and we're also going to be talking about video and blurring people out in the video, how to go about it, what software is possible, and how do you know if you're being put under physical surveillance by the Australian Federal Police. We'll be back in 30 seconds to tell you all about it. So, Casey Pine, how's your work been? How's your week been in private investigations this week?
Very good. Very, very busy.
Very
which is
busy?
fantastic. It's the way I like it.
Okay. So you've been locating subjects and doing some OSINT, and what else have you been up to?
Yeah, that's all I do these days is my desktop investigation. So I love it and keeps me busy. So yeah, keeps me out of trouble.
Very good. Okay. So Easter is traditionally one of the busiest times of year for investigators. Surveillance investigators, they're working every day of Easter, but don't feel sorry for them. They earn a lot of money. And private investigators are really pushing themselves, and government investigators, to get their work completed before the holidays start, because what we've got this year, and sometimes it happens regularly, not only have we got Easter, but immediately following that, we've got a long weekend. So there's a high expectation that that work, which generally runs 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, is going to be completed on time for the various cases and the various timeframes that are required for what we do in our work. So g'day, Renee. Great to see you. Thanks for checking in. So a couple of jobs that have come up this week. This one's a great one. Up in Cairns, North Queensland, M&A investigations need a factual investigator up there. So if you conduct factual investigations for general insurance or workers' compensation, M&A investigations want to hear from you. So how do you get in touch with them? All their details are here on our Facebook page, the Australian Private Investigator Corporate and Government Investigation Jobs page. You won't see that job advertised anywhere else. It's only here. And M&A investigators are looking for a professional factual investigator. So that's why they've advertised it on this page. So great opportunity in Cairns with M&A. North Queensland, that's the one I just did. This is a great job, Assistant State Inspector, Investigations and Emergency Response for the Department of Customer Service in New South Wales. You'll need an advanced diploma of government investigation for this one. So there's several departments you'll be working within. They're all combined in customer service now, but that job role paying up to $126,000 per year, you have to have an advanced diploma of government investigation to get it. And if you need one of those, all you got to do is contact me and I can organise that, because we can organise that through your learning, through recognition of prior learning. So that's giving you credit for what you've done in the past. But it's an advanced diploma of workplace inspection that you'll be required to have for that job. And it's not unusual they ask for it. It's a high paying job with great responsibility. They expect you to be qualified in that role. Down in Tasmania, ProCare are looking for a factual investigator in Launceston and Hobart. It's a really great opportunity. And SureFact are looking for investigators in New South Wales and in Victoria as well. So I'll come back to some more job opportunities later. Over on LinkedIn this week, there's been some really great news. So let's have a look at it. The great news on LinkedIn: Amanda Rains, Australian Security Academy student, graduate, has picked up a new position as a factual investigator at MJM. Well done, Amanda. That's
fantastic.
really great. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Amanda watches this program when she can. Like everybody else, she's very busy on Friday afternoons, and it's a big ask to give up 30 minutes at the end of the week. But she's a great participator in the program, and if she's not there now, I'm sure you'll be watching the replay, Amanda, and give us a like on Facebook if you see that. So that's great. One of the ones that's come up on LinkedIn this week's a real beauty, and it's KPMG, which are a bunch of accountants, right? So they do financial crime investigation. Who cares? You know, you're an accountant, so what? But they put up a podcast of various issues in relation to investigating financial crime and other things. And one of them is what we train for at the Australian Security Academy, Code of Conduct and Misconduct in the Public Service. And they've got some podcasts about it. It's called Forensic Lens. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to see it or hear it yet, but I plan to certainly watch that over Easter when I get more opportunity to do so. So that's over in LinkedIn. So what does it mean when they're talking about corruption and this sort of thing in government and going out and investigating it? And how do you know if you are under physical surveillance by the Australian Federal Police? I'll give you a hint. Let's have a look. What's Vera doing there? She shouldn't be there. Whoops, sorry. That's not supposed to happen. That was for the people that are on the cheaper version of this free program.
Does that mean we pay them to watch it?
Yeah, that's right. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh God, now I've got to find it.
That's what happens when we're live.
Yes, it's what happens when you're live. So I'll have to come back to that one, people. Do apologise for that. Don't know what I did there. Must have binned it. So moving right along, Casey, what have you got for us this week to save my sorry butt?
I thought I would talk about sock puppets again. I know I've spoken about it on the show before, but I've had just over the last couple of months, because I haven't spoken about it, other investigators reach out to me. And I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn this week as a new investigator. She had been doing some just pre-surveillance investigations on her desktop just to have a look at the subject and try and get more information. And she accidentally sent the subject a friend request. And that is just any investigator's worst nightmare. And to make it worse, she was on her own personal account. So that's just a huge, huge, huge no-no. And it's just one of the worst things that you can do, A, for your own personal security, and B, for your job and your credibility. And she obviously had to speak to the agency that she was doing this job for and say, look, this has happened, and apologize and explain and promise that it'd never happen again. And I just thought that I would use her story as a teaching moment, because we should all have these things, whether you're a desktop investigator or not. If you're just a PI that does a little bit of desktop investigations before you go out in the field, or you're a factual investigator and you want to check them out beforehand, you need to have fake accounts. Now, I did this little infographic. Well, yeah, we all make mistakes, unfortunately, and this was a big one. So this is a little infographic on what to do, because a lot of people miss some of these steps, and we really need to do them properly, because your sock puppet accounts can risk being banned when you need them the most and you don't want them banned. So when you're first setting them up, as soon as even if you're just studying investigation right now, set them up, because the older the accounts are, the more legitimate they look, and the longer they go, the longer that you can feel safe and know that you're actually going to have them. So decide on a name. So the first step is decide on a name, location, and birthday. So these are things that you need because you need your person to look real. You don't want them to look like a fake account, because if they get flagged in any social media, you're spending all of this time and effort on something and then it just gets taken away from you and there's nothing you can do. So put some actual effort into it. So decide on a name, Sarah Smith, and her date of birth is the 6th of September, 1980. And her location, I usually suggest somewhere near you. I suggest the town that you live in, because Facebook can pick up where you are, where you're using the account from, unless you're using a VPN and are really good at using that VPN and can set it to Sydney every single time. Probably don't do that. Just use the area that you live in. So just say Brisbane. Or if you live in Sydney, you just say Sydney. You don't have to give the specific pinpoint area, just the generalized area. And I always have two that I put a lot of effort into, which is a male and a female. So depending on the investigation that I'm doing, with some things you might need to ask for permission to go into a mother's group. And if you need to go into a mother's group to kind of have a look at what's going on in there, you can't use a male to do that. So have both on the go at the same time. And so step 2, after you've decided on the name, location, and birthday for both your male and female sock puppets, create a Gmail account. And I just use the first initial of the person that you've decided, the last name, and the year of their date of birth. That way it looks like a general, legitimate Gmail account to Google, because you need an email to start up all of these accounts. And then the third thing is a password manager. So you have to remember all of these passwords. I'm sure you have enough trouble keeping up with your own passwords. And Bitwarden is free. You just set it up, and that way, rather than when you set up a new virtual machine, like a clean install, a clean virtual machine, you can just install your Bitwarden, and then it's got all of your passwords there, and you don't have to go, oh, what's this password and what's that password? It just makes life so much easier and so much quicker. It's worth the hassle just to set it up. It's not even a hassle. It's just as easy as setting up a Gmail account. So make sure you have a password manager. Otherwise, it's just going to waste your time in the future. And so once you've got that set up, where you can store all of your passwords for your sock puppet accounts. And by the way, I need to point this out. If with your 2 sock puppet accounts, have separate emails. Obviously, you can't set up 2 different Facebook accounts with one email. So make sure you've got one for your man and your lady. And make sure you don't have any pictures of children in the photos or anything like that. Speaking of photos, you need a profile image. And my favorite is still "This person does not exist." If you want to check out this guy that I did 2 seconds before coming on the show, meet Jared. He's an accountant from Brisbane, and he likes to go surfing on the Sunshine Coast when he can, because his parents-in-laws live up there, and he goes and stays with them, and he doesn't mind taking the kids on a Sunday morning to the park. And he looks like a legitimate person, and he's not. He is actually an artificial intelligence compilation of hundreds of different photos that they've put together and compiled his face. So you're not stealing someone else's image. A lot of people used to take sneaky photos of strangers and use that as their sock puppet account. Don't do that. It's super creepy. Can you imagine coming across another account with your face or your profile in it? It's just, And if there's a face there, it's more likely that you are going to be admitted into the groups that you want to be admitted into to have a look. You're more likely to have a legitimate presence on Facebook and YouTube or Twitter or whatever you're using. If it's just you in a hoodie, no one really accepts that. So jump on "This person does not exist" and use one of those. Just a word of warning with dating sites, though. If you go onto dating sites, they don't tend to let you use those photos. They pick pick up on it pretty quickly. So they're like, this looks like an artificial intelligence compilation. Can you please send us a selfie with the date written on a piece of paper? And obviously I can't do that. I can't imagine making myself look like old Jared here. So when it comes to dating sites, you do have to find a workaround with that. But with all other social media, I haven't had an issue at all with this. So once you've got your profile image, start signing up to all of the social media profiles. So the more social media you have, the more legitimate it makes your sock puppet look like, and the less likely it's going to be banned. So remember, Gmail is owned by Alphabet, aka Google. So if you've got a Gmail account and a YouTube account and a Google account, they're the same company, and they're like, oh, okay, maybe they are a real person because they've got all these 3 accounts under our umbrella. So they're not just someone in a Indonesian factory that set up all of these Facebook accounts to sell likes. Or, for example, Facebook and Instagram are owned by, obviously, Facebook. So if you have your picture, if you've got your accounts, and if you use them, then they go, okay, it's probably legitimate, and it really helps you. So make sure you sign up to all the accounts, and it saves you time when you're looking for information and you're like, oh, they've got an Instagram account. And if you don't have an Instagram account, you've got to go, okay, sign up, this, that, and the other. When you set them up properly, when you do it properly, it saves you a bucket load of time in the process. So make sure you do that. And I had something else I wanted to point out, but it slipped my mind. But yeah, they're definitely the best way to do it. Take an afternoon just to set these two up, which will really help save you time in the future, and it protects your identity. And I'm not saying that you're setting, this is one distinction that Mike wanted me to make sure that I made, is you're not setting this up to add the person on Facebook. You do not ever add the person on Facebook unless you are working for the police and you're doing different things and you're asked and required to do that kind of stuff. There is no way that any investigation agency, as far as I know, can ask you to, and I don't believe they will, I've never been asked to befriend someone, because that goes against all of our codes of conduct, and that kind of stuff. So you're never going to befriend them. Sending them a friend request is just like, if you do it by accident, it's terrible. I've definitely made that mistake in the past. Luckily, of course, with the sock puppet account, when I first started looking up people's information, because people make mistakes, as I said before, and I believe my computer froze and I was clicking around, and then the thing that I had clicked on, my computer had froze, was the add friend. And I just remember my stomach dropping. So it's especially why you make sure you have sock puppet accounts, and it's really easy.
Thank you very much, Casey. That's great. So the other thing I promised you to look at today was when you have that situation and you've been conducting surveillance and you take your video back to your office and you check it. And when you look at the video, yes, you've got the subject in the video, that's right. But all around the subject are a bunch of little children, other people, passers-by, people standing around right next to the subject. You've got a real issue. Now, I had a major issue once where I had a subject and he got himself a new girlfriend after his divorce, and I got some video of him, as I was required to do back in the day, and his new girlfriend was the head of one of the biggest unions and the most aggressive unions in Australia. Now, this was going to be a political nightmare had they been able to identify who it was. So all I had to do was blur that other person out and concentrate on the subject. So let's have a look at 2 options you've got if you have other people, children, relatives, friends, or passers-by in surveillance video that you've got to submit to your client. It's a common problem for surveillance agents Australia-wide. Here we have a cameraman in the red square who's our subject and we're filming him, but walking around him are identifiable people in the shot, which a client doesn't really want, especially if it's children, teenagers, young ladies, that sort of thing. So what's the solution to it as a surveillance investigator who has to submit the video to the client? Number one, zoom right in. That's the first one that you can do. It works very effectively and eliminates other people. Number two, you can use motion blur to fade out the faces of the people except for the subject. So the subject's still clearly identifiable. How much does this kind of software cost? Well, this one's from ScreenFlow and it's $150 American, which translates to $200 Australian. Contact Mike Evans at the Australian Security Academy for all your surveillance professional development needs for professional training in CPP 30619, Certificate 3 in Investigative Services, no police training, just civil investigation. Okay, so there are two options you have if you have to send in that there are other people. Particularly, it's really sensitive if it's children, school children. Sometimes you'll end up at the local swimming pool, stuff like that. That sort of thing has to be edited out. So previously, I promised to tell you what to do, or how do you know if you've been put under physical surveillance by the Australian Federal Police? And I stuffed it up. Let's see if I can fix it. So on LinkedIn, they've got a podcast series about corruption and all sorts, bribery and all that sort of thing. So here we've got some couples in a restaurant. Couple 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which ones are the actual federal police next to you who have you under surveillance? Is it couple 1? Is it couple 2? Is it couple 3? Or is it couple number 4? Yes, the federal police couple number 4 who are not drinking, they're not eating, and they're not talking. They are just listening to you. You are under surveillance when you have that couple sitting next to you silently with no alcohol, with no food, and no conversation. So that's how you know. Did you notice the hot, sexy reason you were staring at the couple number 3? There it is. Yep. That's right, you were looking at Simon's bow tie. So that's how you know when you're under physical surveillance and you're also sexy. So that's really, really important. That's right, isn't it, Casey?
Yeah, sure.
So that brings us to this week's interactivity, which is just so important. We have the bow tie on our thumbnails and in all our advertising. So what's the importance to you for SpyCurious's bow tie? Is it number 1, danger? Is it number 2, style? Is it number 3, creativity? Or is it number 4, simply a knob? In the comment section, put in your vote for the bow tie for SpyCurious. Is it number 1, dangerous? Is it number 2, style and uniqueness? Is it number 3, creative and style? Or number 4, simply a knob? What do you reckon, people? Have we got any votes on that? I know the answer too.
You're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, well, I'm going to cut it off in a minute, and then anyone on the replay won't be able to comment. So bad luck. I think it's number 1. That bow tie represents danger, and that's why I did it, because it's James Bond. And it's also probably a combination of 1, 2, and 3. Really, that's my personal opinion.
Nice, Scott.
Well, we're certainly getting some interactions on that one. And I'm sure nobody said number 4. Nobody at all said number 4, did they, Casey?
I'm glad I didn't wear my bow tie today. Then they'd all be in trouble.
All right, people. So that reminds us, have a great Easter. So that's really important. Thanks for sticking with me, people. It was really kind of you. So down on the Gold Coast, they want a junior factual investigator at Adjuster Corp. Now, this is job opportunity of a century for entry-level investigators. Really great team at Adjuster Corp. Great supporters of the Australian Security Academy. So if you're on the Gold Coast and you want to enter into the industry, okay, yeah, don't go past that opportunity. Okay, if you nearly got your license, get in touch with Adjuster Corp. Adjuster Corp also want a senior investigator on the Gold Coast. So they want an experienced factual investigator as well. These are great opportunities. And Media Communications Authority are looking for people to monitor radio frequencies. So this is something that's been going on for the whole of my life. The Australian government listens to what's going on radios and monitors it. So you'll be working from home to do that. A great job you'll need a certificate for in government investigation to do it. ProCare have got opportunities for licensed factual investigators in Newcastle, Maitland, Hunter, Wollongong, Illawarra, South Coast, Hobart and Launceston. So get in touch with ProCare. They want you to go and work for them. Great opportunity there. Don't know why I'm showing that from last week. All those jobs, people, every single job that you've just seen and more are here on this Facebook page. You have to ask to join it. I approve everybody that asks to join that. So certainly get on that page and see the opportunities in your feed daily as they come through. Over on LinkedIn, ICAC are advertising for people again. So if you're on LinkedIn, just do a search for ICAC and see what opportunities they've got there. I must repeat, if you know any investigators in Cairns who do factual investigations, tell them about this great opportunity with M&A Investigations. Now, M&A Investigations have an internal training program to develop you. They have ongoing continuous professional development, and they like you to be a member of an industry association. So when you're looking to apply for work with M&A Investigations, you tell them you're a member of AIRLAP. They want to know that. All right, so that's something that you must put on your resume. If you're an Australian security graduate student, you are automatic, or just a student, you're a member of AIRLAP. So that's a really important thing to tell future prospective employers, because they don't know unless you tell them. All right, they'll skip through very quickly. Add in that industry association membership, and it's another reason to employ you over someone with a law degree who they don't really want to know about. If you're looking for work, SureFact are looking for investigators, and Brookside as well are looking for investigators in Sydney. But they certainly, if you're anywhere else in Australia, they'll be more than happy to talk to you if you're a licensed private investigator. I think we've covered everything we had to do this week, Casey.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the name of the game you made me play at your son's 13th birthday yesterday?
An escape room.
It was very good. Really enjoyed it. Absolutely fantastic day. and great game. So if you're looking for children's birthday entertainment for 12 and up, get in touch with Casey.
You're doing a lot of work.
We'll send you the links. We're going out in our usual way.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
Yes, that's the way. Every investigation agency in Australia shuts the end of their week. They tell all units to return home, and they say, people, that is it. We're coming up to 2 long weekends in a row. Your investigators, government, corporate, and licensed, you've been through your workplace health and safety programs, and you've been warned about fatigue and traffic and speed and weather conditions, all that sort of thing. We want to see you back the week after next. We won't be on next Friday because it's Good Friday, but we're really looking forward to seeing you back the week after next in one piece. Have a great Easter. Really enjoy it. Stay safe. And that's it from Casey and Mike. See you then.
Bye, everyone. Have a fantastic Easter.